Threat is when you have 3 pivot points that are lower, 1, 2, and 3, all lower, while price has made higher highs, right? High and higher high again. Now, the kicker here is that this is a pattern that generally precedes a rollover. Now, listen, could MicroStrategies go up to $2,000 a share? Sure, it could. That doesn't really change anything as long as the divergence stays intact. But essentially what this is telling you, RSI is telling you that big money, smart money is unloading into this and setting up for something bigger. Now, you might say, well, how the heck, does this make sense or what's going on here? Well, if we look at past moves, we can see very clearly that you had negative divergences, right? What do I mean by that? Well, we have Bitcoin's chart up here. So on Bitcoin, let's go all the way back to 2021, right? I'm going to go all the way back here, and I want to just look at the RSI in 2021, okay? So where are we? Here we go, 2021. So in looking at the RSI, and I'm going to try to drag it in a little bit closer so we can really see, look at what the RSI was telling us going into the first high pivot before the drop. So in 2021, we had 2 pivot highs, right? We had the 65,000 high and the 69,000 high. Now, before, when you were going up here, you had a collapse down to 30,000. And did the RSI help predict that? And the answer is, look, high, higher high, higher high, higher high. Look at that. Look at all these lower highs, and then what happens? Drop, boom, down. Again, so the negative, this is called a negative divergence on the RSI, where you get lower highs on the RSI, but higher highs on price. Another thing that's really cool to look at is if we flip over to the Bitcoin weekly chart, right, and we flip over here, did you have a negative divergence after the 2 tops in 2021? And I'm going to zoom in as much as I can because I really want to make the point here. But look at this, guys. So here's your high in early 2021 at 65K, right? So there's your high at 65K. Here's your high at 69K, okay? So it was a higher high, very clear higher high. Now look at the RSI, high, and look at that. So this again told me, and this is one of the reasons why I was able to call the high at 69K and say it was going to go back to 20K, is because this is just one of the many factors that I had. But look at the higher high, and this is about as crystal clear of a negative divergence as you're ever going to get. And then what happens to price? It goes from 69 back to 15 before finally bottoming out. By the way, you want to see something even cooler? Look at this. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Let's look at the lows at 15K. Did we have a positive divergence? Because divergences work in both ways. All right, so if we look at this, right, let's bring up this. All right, so here's the low. This is the 15K low. This is when, Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX, all that stuff was going on. And if we look at this, right, we have a low here, right, and a lower low here. But if we look at the RSI, look at this. It was upsloping. All right, so again, you had a positive divergence in RSI with a negative price drop. And again, that's telling you that at least in the short term, price was going to likely turn up. And sure enough, price did turn up. So again, a little bit of an educational piece today on RSI. Now, again, I want to just preempt this and say RSI analysis is not an end all be all. It's not like I just say, oh, that's a positive or negative divergence, so I go long or short. But it is a tool that, again, is very, very useful when analyzing and using other factors. The key to a good investor or trader is finding multiple factors that all tell you the same thing. The more factors, the higher probability of success. All right. We were below this wedge pattern here, but again, it never confirmed, and when it doesn't confirm, it can recapture the wedge very, very easily. Then we closed below here, and we confirmed with that secondary close lower. Now again, what is this going to mean? Well, today, based on today, we're basically right back here, but as long as we don't confirm back inside of this level, then this is a broken pattern, meaning it is a bearish pattern breakdown. So again, just keep that in mind. You have to, again, now, by the way, it doesn't guarantee anything. Remember, it's all probabilities, but once you confirm outside of a wedge like this, basically it's 80% odds, leaving 20% chance that it could still, surprise me, but for the most part, I go with the probabilities, which is that, again, even if we go up like this, eventually you do that, then you get another bounce, then you do that, and so on and so forth, all right? Now, we've seen this on